Part 39. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 381. Lu Yu was now wrapped in golden energy and blood, and his hair was shining like a god. Even Lu Yu was surprised. Why did my bloodline change again for no reason? Before he was happy for long, he discovered that the dragon in the distance was getting closer. What makes Lu Yu a little confused is that the eyes of the dragon have not been opened until now. Moreover, it seemed that his body was not even moving. It seemed like it was just floating in the void. It's not just the dragon, the golden energy and blood are changing, and Lu Yu seems to be able to see more things. Looking around, the four directions of the universe are filled with huge corpses. These corpses were all heading in a certain direction uniformly, carrying a vast aura and filled with the will of death. It's like going from ancient times to the current world. Mingzi, can you see it now? Lu Yu asked again. Mingzi still shook her head. It's too dark. I can't see anything clearly even further away. Still can't see it? Lu Yu's expression became thoughtful, and when he wanted to observe it again. Suddenly, he and Mingzi seemed to be accelerated. In just a blink of an eye, he passed through these corpses and the surroundings were plunged into darkness again. A few minutes passed and a little light appeared. Why are you two here so late? In a palace, Bai Mo looked at Lu Yu and Ming 11. Lu Yu looked around with a confused expression. The current location seems to be a palace. It was dilapidated and even cracked in some places. The entire palace was dark, and the only light was the torch held by a genius behind him. Lu Yu pulled Mingzi to stand up with doubtful eyes. How long have you been here? We have been waiting for you here for half an hour, Bai Mo said calmly. Lu Yu was too lazy to let himself and others wait for him here for a long time. Before Lu Yu could be surprised, Ming 11 frowned. It's impossible. Lu Yu and I entered the light gate less than half a minute later than you. Then I don't know, Bai Mo said. These two people are so clever at making excuses. Lu Yu was thinking. I came in half an hour later than Bai Mo and the others. Could it be because of the scene just now? Lu Yu was even more surprised. Are those corpses real, or are they talking about something? Besides, why is it that only I can see this weird scene? Is it because of the bloodline again? Lu Yu was helpless, but at this moment, Ming 11 next to him exclaimed. Our place doesn't seem to be a safe area. Not a safe area? Lu Yu's eyes were also attracted. Seeing this, Bai Mo said helplessly. It is indeed not a safe area. There seems to be something wrong with the entrance. We were not transferred directly to the safe area. What should we do? What else can you do? Ming 11, Bai Mo, and even all the geniuses looked at Lu Yu. Lu Yu. Ahem, I'm not familiar with the ancient land. I think it's better to let Brother Bai Mo lead the way. I believe he will lead us to a safe area. Joke. Want me to lead the way? This place is full of weird things. God knows what's inside. I'm not going to clear the way. I'm just staying behind. In addition, I also want to find out what the so-called Nantianmen means here. If I lead the way, wouldn't it mean that they follow me wherever I go? In conclusion, I, Lu, will not do this kind of hard work. Bai Mo didn't expect that Lu Yu would directly push this kind of thing onto his own head. Shouldn't it be that whoever is stronger should lead the way? But now that Lu Yu had said this, Bai Mo didn't say anything more and just nodded. I observed the terrain before. Our current location should be more than 10 kilometers away from the safe area. In the ancient land, the range that light can spread is quite limited, and I don't know what danger we will encounter. I hope everyone can unite and help each other along the way, and don't be stingy if you can contribute. The person Bai Mo said this was obviously Lu Yu. What made him depressed was that Lu Yu had already wandered to a wall. Lu Yu, what are you doing? Come here and see what this is. Lu Yu pointed at the wall. Chapter 0292 You have no artistic ability, the polished commander by Mo. Lu Yu pointed at the wall. These words made by Mo raise his eyebrows slightly. Got something? That's not right. We have checked it before and there is nothing unusual. Bai Mo walked over and looked at the relief on the wall with a puzzled look on his face. What's wrong, Lu Yu? Don't you see something? Lu Yu looked surprised. When the others heard this, they were stunned. What's the meaning? Does this relief have any profound meaning? Lu Yu's words made several people look at him seriously. The relief on the wall is a sun. Just a few minutes later, everyone still found nothing. They looked at Lu Yu, hoping that Lu Yu could answer. Seeing this, Lu Yu smiled calmly. You guys are so devoid of artistic appreciation. This thing must have existed for at least 100,000 years. It's a work of art. It's so profound. Lu Yu's words made everyone, including Ming 11, silent at the same time. For some reason, they always felt that Lu Yu had fooled them. 100,000 years of art? You can't find it by just looking in any tribe's library? Are you kidding me? In response, Lu Yu could only sigh helplessly. Forget it, you don't have artistic cells and can't appreciate it. Everyone. Let's go to the safe area now, Lu Yu, you. I'll go last, I'll cover you. Lu Yu looked righteous. The one who covers the last is the safest. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 382. Those in the front and middle usually don't survive more than 2 episodes. Seeing this, Bai Mo didn't say anything more. Mingzi and Lu Yu came together. Lu Yu, my safety is in your hands. Mingzi tightly grabbed Lu Yu's arm. Lu Yu looked puzzled. What about the protection fee? You still charge me for protection? Mingzi was surprised. Lu Yu nodded. If you can't get the star core, actually. Lu Yu remained calm. Mingzi's pretty face instantly blushed, and she stepped on Lu Yu's foot. You, this guy, is not right. Bai Mo looked back at the two of them, and his mouth twitched. Such a dangerous place, Lu Yu, you are flirting here? Be alert, let's go out now. Someone handed over a torch, and this torch was not a simple torch. The burning material is made of the fur and oil of a fierce beast called the scale light beast, which can burn for a long time and has a very bright light. However, even so, everyone holding torches at the same time could only barely illuminate the distance of 2 or 3 meters around them. At the moment, Bai Mo was walking in front, and Lu Yu was walking behind with Mingzi. After leaving the palace, there was a bluestone road. It was dark all around, and the light of the torches was quite limited. There were 11 people in total, and almost all of them walked with their chests close to each other. Everyone was concentrating and looking in all directions. There was no way, there were precedents in the ancient land. Even the Tai realm strongman who rashly left the safe area disappeared directly, not to mention himself and others. Of course, only Lu Yu was still calm. He saw something. This kind of darkness seemed to have the same origin as the darkness he had seen in the void before. In other words, his blood seemed to have a restraining effect on it. Walking behind, while everyone was not paying attention, a ball of golden blood appeared in Lu Yu's hand. It spread a little further to the back, and the back was indeed illuminated. But what made Lu Yu confused was a figure appeared in the illuminated area, staring at him intently. The moment the light appeared, the shadow disappeared again. I was scared to death. Lu Yu was startled. The shadow was at most 3 meters away from him, and he hadn't noticed it yet. If he wanted to attack, he would probably not be able to dodge it. Lu Yu, are you okay? Lu Yu's voice made the whole team stop. Bai Mo walked back. Lu Yu, Did you see anything? He frowned. In fact, Bai Mo had always felt that there was something around, but he didn't see it. This made Lu Yu nod. There is something nearby, everyone be careful. When Lu Yu said this, everyone was horrified. Sure enough, is there something lurking in the dark? The eyes of a few girls who were a little timid were already full of tears. Bai Mo frowned even more. Everyone, it seems we have to hurry up. As he said that, Bai Mo led the way again, this time at a much faster speed. Lu Yu walked behind and also raised his vigilance. A bronze sword appeared in his hand. You scared me, don't let me catch you again. Lu Yu snorted. I really lost someone just now, I will remember this grudge. Don't let me see you again. Otherwise, I will just hack you to death. Holding a sword in one hand, Lu Yu held a ball of golden blood in the other hand. As long as he sensed someone behind him, he would chop it with a sword. Just as Lu Yu was thinking this, suddenly, a scream broke out in front. No! Save me! On both sides, darkness surged towards the young man like a tide. Clearly visible, several grey hands stretched out, actually grabbed the young man and wanted to drag him out of the team. Not good. Bai Mo's eyes widened instantly, without hesitation, he urged his ancient body, and fell towards those hands with a sword. However, what shocked everyone was that when Bai Mo's sword fell, the sword light seemed to be stuck in a quagmire, without any ripples. On the contrary, the young man's arm was torn off alive, and blood gushed out. No! Save me! Save me! He screamed. Everyone was desperate when they saw this. There was no way to save him. And at this moment, a sudden shout came out. I finally found you, you bastard! Lu Yu was furious. He clearly saw the black shadows hiding behind him and trying to attack him. Without any hesitation, Lu Yu instantly used the power of his blood. The next moment, blood and chi like the ocean surged out, covering everything around. A few dozen meters away, there was a bright light. The darkness retreated like a tide and could not invade. And in the field, there were three phantoms with thick black mist, grabbing the young man's arm and gnawing. However, at this moment, these shadows were also sluggish. They didn't have time to escape, and the next moment, Lu Yu swung his sword. Damn! It's so mysterious. Lu Yu slashed down with the sword, and the shadows instantly disintegrated and turned into several mummies. And the young man was also alive, except for a broken arm, he was not seriously injured. After he came to his senses, he knelt down directly in front of Lu Yu. Thank you, Lu Yu, I can't repay you for saving my life. The young man was so grateful that he burst into tears. Just now, he felt that he was going to die. Bai Mo couldn't save him. In the end, Lu Yu only made a sword, and he was saved. At this moment, the young man didn't resent Lu Yu for what he had done before. Those 10,000 star cores were worth it. If it weren't for those 10,000 star cores, he might have watched himself die. The young man was like this, and others were also surprised. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 383. Looking at Lu Yu, whose whole body was glowing with golden light, he didn't hesitate at all, and all of them leaned over. In an instant, Bai Mo became the polished commander. Chapter 0293. I am too weak, 200 star cores can save one. Bai Mo? Lu Yu shook his head helplessly. Hey, that's what good people are like. It's hard not to be attractive. Ahem, everyone, please stop crowding so tightly. I'll just cut it off for you. No. It's so dangerous. Lu Yu, you must save me. A woman squeezed in and hugged Lu Yu's arm tightly, her eyes full of prayer. So scary. Suddenly those black shadows suddenly appeared. If Lu Yu hadn't taken action, the young man was absolutely dead just now. He will be dragged away alive. Lu Yu felt the soft friction on his arm, looked at the woman's beautiful face, and sighed again. Damn it, you hug me so tightly, it makes me feel uncomfortable too, you know? At this time, several other women gathered around and hugged Lu Yu tightly, even pushing Ming 11 away. You. Ming 11 was very angry, and Lu Yu also had a helpless expression on his face. I really don't want them to be so close, but they don't want to let go. Bai Mo stood beside him, his face ashen. Bullying. What a bully. So angry. Bai Mo wanted to roar, but he could only take a deep breath. Lu Yu, you should lead the team. No, 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 I feel Bai Mo is suitable for you to be the team leader, so I'll just stop you. Joke. As a team leader, you can't do this kind of thing yourself. You still have to save people. If you don't save them, you will have to be held accountable by the palace master. Isn't it nice to hide behind the scenes and pick up girls? Seeing this, Bai Mo said nothing. He squatted down and carefully inspected the mummy on the ground. These mummies have been dead for a long time. Bai Mo stretched out his sword and touched one of the corpses lightly. The next moment, the corpse's arms turned directly into fly ash. Lu Yu, surrounded by several girls, also walked over. These people are both male and female. They must have lived here before they were alive. In response, Bai Mo nodded. That should be the case. There are probably quite a few of these monsters. Bai Mo looked around. Lu Yu's golden energy and blood converged back, and the surroundings fell into darkness again. This made the corners of Bai Mo's mouth twitch. Because Lu Yu's golden energy and blood only protected himself and the women around him. Lu Yu, if you have no problem, you can. Hey, this consumes too much energy. My limit is a 2-meter radius. If there are not enough star cores to replenish it, I'm afraid it won't last long. Lu Yu looked weak. When Bai Mo and other young people heard this, they were immediately stunned. Digging. You are taking advantage of the situation. What can't last long? You clearly want us to take out the things. When the women heard Lu Yu's words, they immediately hugged Lu Yu tighter. Lu Yu, don't leave us behind. It's really scary here. It's scary. I have to follow Lu Yu closely. The words of several women made the other 6 people instantly dumbfounded. If you don't rob me, woman, then you will rob us, right? Depend on. However, the darkness around them surged up again, approaching a few people. Bai Mo frowned slightly and took a deep breath. 100 star cores. 300. 200. 250. Forget it, just 200, come here Bai Mo. Lu Yu waved helplessly. Seeing this, Bai Mo gritted his teeth and leaned over. In an instant, Lu Yu's golden energy and blood covered him. Sure enough, the darkness no longer rushed towards Bai Mo, but towards the other 5 people. When the 5 of them saw this situation, what could they do? If you don't pay, you will die immediately. Lu Yu, save me. The one-time price is 200 star cores. If you are willing to give it, just raise your hand. If you are not willing, just forget it. These words made several people hesitate. They also want to learn how to bargain with Bai Mo. However, the next moment someone screamed. Save me Lu Yu, I'll give you 300. Lu Yu was happy when he heard this. The next moment, the golden energy and blood went directly towards that person. The darkness was forced back in an instant, and the genius also breathed a sigh of relief, with an expression on his face that he had narrowly escaped death. When other people look at it, Do they think this is okay? Without any hesitation, they all reached out. I agree. Me too. Me. And me. Seeing that all 5 people agreed, Lu Yu felt happy in his heart, and golden energy and blood immediately came out. In an instant, the other 4 people were surrounded by golden energy and blood at the same time. Seeing that the darkness was no longer encroaching, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Lu Yu looked emotional. This star core is so profitable. Plus, it's so cool. Now I can be said to be hugged from left to right. A girl on the left is hugging her, and a girl on the right is hugging her. She can't shake him off. Forget about hugging him, these girls seemed to be afraid that he would leave them, and kept rubbing against him. If it weren't for Lu Yu's strong determination, he would have been unable to withstand it. Lu Yu, you are going to make me mad. Mingzi stood nearby with an angry expression on her face. I was clearly following Lu Yu before, so what happened to these 3 extra people? Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 384. Lu Yu coughed when he saw this. You can't blame me for this. This was not my fault in the first place. These girls came up to me on their own initiative, I didn't force them. It was you, Mingzi, who pushed them too far. Mingzi was even more annoyed when he saw this, and hugged his shoulders angrily. Bai Mo sighed when he saw this. Lu Yu, now with your ability, we should be able to reach the safe area safely, don't delay, let's go. Lu Yu did not object to Bai Mo's words. Going to the safe area is the top priority now. The real mission of coming here is to improve the realm. Without hesitation, Bai Mo led the way, Lu Yu exuded golden blood, and the 11 people went to the safe area. This time, there was no danger along the way. The darkness was dispelled by Lu Yu's blood. This scene really shocked everyone. Bai Mo couldn't help but think. What kind of bloodline is Lu Yu? He defeated his ancient body before. Now even the weirdness of the ancient land can be solved. It's too incredible. In the midst of doubts, the so-called safe area of the ancient land has arrived. A sacrificial altar fell in the square. In the 8 corners of the square, there are stone statues. These stone statues, some holding swords and guns, some with human bodies and beasts, all look very ferocious. And on them, a faint white light is emitting. These white lights prevent the influx of darkness. Finally here. Having entered the white light, everyone is relieved. After hesitating for a while, the women let go of Lu Yu's arms. They didn't turn their faces immediately. On the one hand, it was because Lu Yu's strength was indeed outstanding, and on the other hand, no one knew whether there were any changes in the ancient land. Now it's true to hold Lu Yu's thighs. Lu Yu, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Thank you. The 3 women gave Lu Yu a charming smile. Mingzi chopped her feet in anger beside her. Lu Yu, look at you, you're laughing like a pig. What does my laughing have to do with you? Are you jealous of me? Lu Yu looked at Ming 11 with a playful smile. When Ming 11 heard this, his expression froze, and he snorted coldly and walked away. Only a ghost likes you. Chapter 02944 Heavenly Kings and 4 Divine Beasts, Terrifying Devouring Power. Only a ghost likes you. Ming 11 was so angry that she didn't want to talk. This guy was so annoying. Lu Yu smiled at this and didn't try to coax the girl. This girl is probably very interested in me, I can't lick her. Anyway, I'm in control now. Looking around, Lu Yu found out. The so-called safe area is actually a square. There is a stone statue in each of the 8 corners of the square. These stone statues emit a faint white light, blocking the influx of darkness. At the same time, rich star power gushed out from the stone statues. At this moment, Bai Mo and others have dispersed everywhere. The star power here can be said to be extremely rich, and they can't wait to start absorbing it. Lu Yu was not in a hurry, and he looked at the stone statue first. And next to him, there was a stone statue. Without hesitation, Lu Yu approached. What surprised Lu Yu slightly was that this stone statue was a dragon. The carving was lifelike, as if it could be resurrected at any time. After Lu Yu took a quick look, his eyes were curious. He was a little confused, why the light emitted by these stone statues could prevent the entry of darkness. Thinking in his heart, Lu Yu looked at another stone statue again. Mingzi was leaning next to the stone statue, absorbing the star power. "What are you doing? I don't accept your apology." Mingzi snorted. Seeing this, Lu Yu ignored it and stood aside to look at the stone statue. This hurt Mingzi very much. "Look, the stone statue doesn't even dare to look at me. What's wrong with this stone statue?" "Shh, don't talk." Lu Yu interrupted Mingzi's words and looked at the stone statue in front of him in shock. "Dhritarashtra. This." Looking at the stone statue holding a pipa in his hand, Lu Yu was stunned. "Is this really Dhritarashtra?" Dhritarashtra is one of the 4 heavenly kings in heaven. The others are Viradhaka, Virpka, and Vice Ravana. They are collectively called the 4 heavenly kings. Seeing one of the stone statues now, Lu Yu felt a little unbelievable. He was not sure if this was true. Without any hesitation, Lu Yu looked at another stone statue. The vermilion bird stone statue. It was a vermilion bird stone statue with its wings spread out to fly. "Go down further." The Viradhaka stone statue. Holding a sword. "Look further back." The white tiger stone statue. And the Virpka stone statue. The last ones are the stone statues of Suanwu and Vice Ravana. Lu Yu walked around the square one by one and came to a shocking conclusion. These should be the stone statues of the 4 heavenly kings and the 4 divine beasts, no doubt about it. Even the directions are the same. East, west, south, and north, azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, Suanwu, Chiguo Guangmu, and Zhongduan Duoan. Damn it! Lu Yu was shocked. He suspected that these 8 stone statues might be left behind by the heavenly court. When the others saw Lu Yu's shocked expression, they were all confused. "Lu Yu, what's wrong with you?" Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 385. Mingzi couldn't help but worry. Others are busy practicing, only Lu Yu is wandering around here, like he has lost his soul. "It's okay." Lu Yu shook his head. This kind of thing can't be explained clearly, the existence of the heavenly court, and the origin of these stone statues. Mingzi and the others probably don't know, but it's clear from their expressions. In the distance, Bai Mo took a quick look and continued to practice. The star source here is extremely rich, and he doesn't want to waste a little time. Seeing that everyone is practicing, even Mingzi is the same. Lu Yu gradually calmed down. These stone statues are not simple, but they are just stone statues. It seems that there is no mystery hidden, only the current priority is to improve the realm. After settling his mind, Lu Yu calmed down and began to practice. It doesn't matter when he doesn't practice, but when he practices, everyone is dumbfounded. Lu Yu's divine talent is fully activated, and the absorption speed is more than terrible. It's like turning into a black hole. The devouring power is getting more and more terrifying. The first person to be affected was Mingzi, who was sitting next to Lu Yu. She suddenly felt that the star source power around her seemed to be stripped away and disappeared directly. When she opened her eyes, she saw a shocking scene. The star source power, which was so dense that it was unimaginable, was actually rushing towards Lu Yu crazily. Those star source powers even liquefied into water, and there was a tendency to form source crystals. Mingzi was sluggish. Not only her, but also several women around Lu Bian were soon affected. They felt that they could no longer absorb a trace of star source power, and opened their eyes to look. Suddenly, the star source power that was originally attracted by them actually poured into Lu Yu's body, being absorbed crazily by Lu Yu. The other people also opened their eyes at this moment, and they were completely unable to compete with Lu Yu. Looking at the star source power being sucked away from them, their eyes were a little confused. What's going on? After a while, Bai Mo, who was sitting opposite Lu Yu, also realized that something was wrong. He opened his eyes instantly and looked at the uncontrolled flow of the star power around him with a blank look. Then, he saw other people who were as blank as him. Everyone looked at each other, looking at Lu Yu as if they were looking at nothing. This guy took all our star power. Damn, is there such a way? We can't let this continue. Everyone jumped up and down. Bai Mo frowned instantly. He didn't expect that Lu Yu's speed of absorbing the star power would be so fast. I really can't stand this guy. Bai Mo snorted coldly and said lightly. All of you come over here. As he said that, a small tower carved like ivory appeared in his hand. Several geniuses were shocked when they saw the tower in Bai Mo's hand. Star Gathering Tower, Bai Mo, you actually brought such a good thing. Star Gathering Tower, as the name suggests, can gather the power of the star source, and it seems to be very fast. There are some ancient formations engraved on the tower. Once activated, the surrounding star source power will increase exponentially. And obviously, Bai Mo is now going to use the Soul Gathering Tower to fight Lu Yu. Many geniuses were happy to see this. Damn it! We are all infusing power together, this guy can't possibly compete with us. Yes, no matter how strong this guy is, he can't compare to the combination of us, plus this high-quality soul gathering tower. Let this guy also experience the taste of not being able to absorb the power of the star source. Many people spoke up. In the past, Lu Yu made himself and others suffer losses, but he didn't expect that he and others would join forces to make Lu Yu suffer a loss. In order to absorb the power of the star source, voluntarily pay for the star core? Several young people got excited at the same time. Mingzi and several women stood aside and didn't say a word. Seeing this, Bai Mo did not deliberately win them over. If these people do not come over now, they will have to pay a heavy price to absorb the power of the star source later. Without any hesitation, Bai Mo took the lead in pouring power into the Gathering Spirit Tower. The others followed suit. In an instant, a ray of light was stimulated from the Gathering Spirit Tower. A lot of the star source power that originally rushed to Lu Yu actually rushed to the Gathering Spirit Tower at this moment. It seems to be useful, try harder. Bai Mo smiled, and for the first time felt that the time for him to be proud was coming. At this moment, Lu Yu, who was practicing, frowned. Chapter 0295 Little Girl, Random Task of the System. Lu Yu frowned. The absorption speed of 50% is still too slow. It seems that I can't hide it. Lu Yu closed his eyes and sighed helplessly. The next moment, a brilliant light burst out from his body. That was the light that burst out when the star source power poured into his body. It was so dazzling that it seemed to blind people's eyes. At the same time, the star power that Bai Mo and others had gathered with great difficulty. Instantly, it got deeper and deeper. Cracks appeared on the star gathering tower, and it shattered with a bang. That was all. The most important thing was that Lu Yu's absorption power was so overbearing that everyone felt that the star cores in their space wrists were about to fly out. Bang! Someone's space wrist exploded, and hundreds of star cores flew out instantly. No. He wanted to collect it back, but before he could take action. In an instant, the power of the star source in those star cores was absorbed and turned directly into a piece of powder. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. Yes, I'm really confused. I've heard of people absorbing the power of the star source quickly, but I've never heard of it being so fast. Before they could react, the next moment, bang bang bang. Everyone's space wrists exploded at the same time, and the star core flew out independently. Boom. In an instant, the power of these star sources was absorbed and swallowed directly by Lu Yu. What the hell? Everyone looked at Lu Yu with confusion. Even BattleAcademy is like this. His space wrist also exploded, and 1,000 star cores disappeared. He really didn't know, was Lu Yu doing this on purpose or not? With one person dominating so many resources, Lu Yu's speed is naturally increasing rapidly. In just half a day, Lu Yu broke through to the 7th level of Takumi. Another day passed and we entered Takumi. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yoon Shui. Chapter 386. Another day passed. Lu Yu successfully entered the 9th level of Takumi. In the square, 10 people sat on the ground, looking at Lu Yu blankly. In 2 days, Lu Yu broke through 3 small realms. This speed is so fast that it makes people's scalps numb. In contrast, the realm of himself and others has not improved at all. Watched for 3 whole days. Just watched Lu Yu practice, watched here for 3 days. In these 3 days, except for watching Lu Yu practice, I couldn't sleep at all. And in so many eyes, Lu Yu finally woke up slowly. Huh? Why are you looking at me? Lu Yu looked puzzled. Time is so precious, don't you people practice? BattleAcademy and others. Mingzi took a deep breath. Lu Yu, do you know what you did? I did. Lu Yu was about to speak, but suddenly thought of something. Wait, it seems that I opened the divine talent to 100% before? You didn't practice. Lu Yu spoke tentatively. Everyone's faces turned pale when they heard this. Even Mingzi couldn't help but grit his teeth. How do you say we can practice? You have absorbed all the power of the star source. Lu Yu, Sigma, degree wow. Wow, am I so cruel? I was right before. Ahem, everyone, I don't know much about this. Sorry to bother you. Next, you practice, I'll keep watch for you. Lu Yu looked righteous. Everyone's faces didn't change much, and they all started to absorb the power of the star source with pale faces. Seeing this, Lu Yu relaxed. My goodness, I only used 50% of the absorption speed at the beginning, how come it suddenly became 100%? Lu Yu said to himself in confusion. In the distance, BattleAcademy couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood when he heard this. You. What's wrong with me? I didn't lie to you. I really only used 50% at the beginning. Later, I felt that someone was competing with me, so I increased it a little bit. Lu Yu had a puzzled expression on his face. This made BattleAcademy want to die on the spot. Taunting. This is absolutely naked taunting. This is clearly contempt for us. Damn. BattleAcademy closed his eyes angrily and began to absorb the power of the star source. Lu Yu curled his lips and looked around. Others were seizing the time to make up for the time they missed before. Lu Yu didn't continue to absorb. After breaking through 3 small realms at once, it is necessary for me to stabilize my realm and continue to absorb the power of the star source. After all, the next thing to face is the limit of Takumi, and the foundation must be laid. What makes Lu Yu a little headache is that what should he look for to raise the upper limit of Takumi? There is divine material in the limit of moving mountains. At present, I have a piece of ultimate quality star meteorite crystal in my hand, but this is the only one left. After it is used up, it will definitely not be used anymore, as it has reached saturation. The same is true for divine matter, which has already reached saturation. This gave Lu Yu a headache. Forget it, forget about it, let's practice boxing first. Lu Yu shook his head and began to practice Tianxiao fist. With one punch and one kick, the golden blood and qi ran wild, tearing apart the darkness surrounding it. Lu Yu thought this was a method of cultivation. To tear apart the darkness, you have to rely on the blood and qi to rush forward. But in this kind of darkness, the blood and qi will be constrained to a certain extent. In other words, if you can tear apart the space with blood and qi, it means that your blood and qi will be stronger. Not bad. Lu Yu happily practiced. This practice lasted a whole day. Others were still practicing and did not open their eyes. Seeing this, Lu Yu let out a breath, threw the last punch, and was about to rest. But when he threw this punch, he suddenly saw a little girl appear in the corner of darkness that he had torn apart. Another strange thing? Lu Yu raised his eyebrows and punched at that position again. In an instant, a large area of darkness was torn apart, and then covered back. But Lu Yu did see the figure of a little girl. What shocked him was, this little girl was actually emitting the same light as the stone statue. But the problem is, I had punched thousands of times at that position before, but I didn't see anything appear. Hiss. Lu Yu was a little horrified. He suspected that some of these things outside were trying to lure him out. Lu Yu narrowed his eyes, turned around and leaned against the stone statue to rest. But not long after he sat down, he couldn't help but stand up again. No, that shouldn't be something. Lu Yu punched at the darkness again. This time, the figure of the little girl was farther away, and she seemed to look back at Lu Yu with a curious look on her face. This. Lu Yu was a little confused. No matter how he looked at it, he felt something was wrong. And when Lu Yu was hesitating, suddenly, the system sounded. Ding. Congratulations to the host for unlocking the random mission. Please go find the little girl. Mission reward, 5% bloodline development. The system's voice made Lu Yu stunned. Damn. Here comes the mission. Let me find that little girl. It's not the system, don't you feel something is wrong? Lu Yu couldn't help but ask back. Host, the road to success is not easy. Perhaps after going through hardships, you can get unexpected surprises. The system's words made Lu Yu fall into deep thought. No matter how he listened, he felt that this guy was tempting him. This system, are you sure you didn't cheat me? No. Lu Yu fell into deep thought for a long time, and finally, he gritted his teeth and nodded. I took it. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 387. Lu Yu was really curious about what that little girl was. And he could vaguely sense that he was only a little bit away from the third stage of bloodline development. After completing this task, perhaps he could unlock the third stage of bloodline before the competition in this galaxy cluster. Without hesitation, Lu Yu looked back at the people who were still practicing, and his figure disappeared into the darkness. Chapter 0296 System, you are cheating me, don't hug my waist. Lu Yu took a step and walked into the darkness alone. And the others in the square did not notice that Lu Yu had disappeared. They were all immersed in practice and had no time to care about other things. In the darkness, Lu Yu was wrapped in golden blood. The surrounding darkness was as thick as water, tightly wrapped around Lu Yu. And he stretched out his blood and qi, and at most illuminated the area within a radius of 3 meters. Going further, it would be very strenuous, and it would consume a lot of blood and qi. Continuing to move forward, Lu Yu held a bronze sword in his hand, always alert to the surroundings. And his eyes were looking forward. That light was still in front of him, as if it was taking him somewhere. It's really weird. Lu Yu said to himself. He was walking in the darkness at the moment, and he couldn't see anything except the light in front of him and the 3-meter range around him. Only his hearing was still there, and there were waves of weird whispers, as if something was following him. "Get out." Lu Yu casually slashed a sword to the side, and the darkness retreated, and there was nothing. But in fact, the voice still existed. "It's weird." Lu Yu shook his head and ignored it. These things didn't seem to dare to attack him. After walking for so long, nothing happened. Lu Yu simply didn't bother to care, just followed the light in front of him. Lu Yu didn't think about keeping up with the little girl, but even if he accelerated, the other party's speed would be faster than his. This made Lu Yu helpless. Now he has been walking for almost an hour, and Lu Yu doesn't know where he has walked to. What should I do now? Lu Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. Looking at this, I don't know how long I have to follow him. If I walk too far, Lu Yu is not sure if I can walk back. Thinking in his heart, Lu Yu looked back. When I walked before, I left traces on the ground with the bronze sword. But at this moment, Lu Yu was stunned. Behind, there is no trace left by me at all. Even Lu Yu walked back for a few minutes and didn't find any traces left by me. Wow! These things outside erased the traces I left. Lu Yu looked at the darkness outside his blood and gasped instantly. At this moment, he felt that things were not good. I walked too far and I didn't remember the way back at all. Damn system, you are cheating me, Lu Yu couldn't help but said. Host, keep going, there is no way back. The system's words made Lu Yu's eyelids jump wildly. He always felt that this guy had anticipated the situation a long time ago. Taking a deep breath, Lu Yu looked ahead. It seemed that because of his stop, the little girl also stopped and was looking back at him. This made Lu Yu feel more and more weird. This was clearly trying to take him somewhere. But whether it was good or bad, Lu Yu really couldn't figure it out. Forget it, give it a try. Lu Yu gritted his teeth and followed the little girl again. In the darkness, I don't know how long it took. Time has lost its concept here. Lu Yu only knew that he had walked a long way. But it was unclear how long he had walked. Haven't you arrived yet? Lu Yu looked at the small light spot in front of him, hesitant in his heart. And at this moment, suddenly, the small light spot in front of him suddenly stopped moving. Huh? Lu Yu was surprised. I saw that the small light spot suddenly turned back and looked at Lu Yu, and then, disappeared directly. What the hell? Lu Yu was terrified, and he was very alert and looked around. He was already cursing in his heart. This is too much like a trap to kill. Just go. Lu Yu just stood there for a long time, and there was no movement around him. It seemed that even the things that followed him before had disappeared. No ghost? Lu Yu wiped the sweat from his forehead, hesitated for a while, and walked to the place where the little girl was before. Still nothing. Lu Yu looked puzzled. What does it mean? Leading himself here, and doing nothing? Lu Yu was puzzled and looked around. This look really made Lu Yu discover something. In the distance, it seemed that something was hidden in the darkness. It was huge, as if it towered over the heaven and earth. It emitted a faint light. What is this? Lu Yu became a little curious and moved closer to that direction. Passing through layers of darkness, the next moment, Lu Yu was shocked by what he saw. What is this? I saw an extremely huge stone pillar, towering between heaven and earth. It seemed to connect the distance between heaven and earth. At the same time, Lu Yu also found a stone tablet next to it. Nantianmen. There were several large characters written on the stone tablet. When Lu Yu saw this scene, he was extremely shocked. He really found the south gate of heaven. Lu Yu looked at the stone pillar. This stone pillar might be part of the south gate of heaven. Lu Yu was surprised, but he did not rush to see it immediately. Instead, he looked at the stone tablet again. The name of the place was engraved on the front, and there should be some relevant information on the back. However, when Lu Yu turned to the north, he was shocked. To the north, a corpse was leaning against the stone tablet. The woman with disheveled hair seemed to be a woman. The blood on the gauze dress seemed to have dried up and turned black. What made Lu Yu hesitate the most was that the woman's body did not seem to decay. Even her hands were still white. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yun Zhonmu Shui. Chapter 388. This is a bit scary. Looking at the clothes, I'm afraid he died here for who knows how many years. The body has not decomposed yet? Lu Yu decided to stay away. But what made him a little confused was, there seems to be something written behind the stone tablet. This. Lu Yu hesitated. Nantianmen. This is the Nantianmen. The gates of the former heavenly court were reduced to this place. There must be some unimaginable presence. Perhaps it has something to do with the enemy the Great Wall defends against. I am curious. If I don't find out what's going on, I feel like I'm itching inside. But now this corpse. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It seems you are also a member of the God clan. I also have the blood of the God clan. If you offend me, please don't blame me. With that said, Lu Yu held the woman's body, took a deep breath, and was about to move. I don't know if it's because it's been too long or for some other reason. With just a little force from Lu Yu, the woman's clothes actually split on their own. In an instant, most of the clothes fell off. Half covered, an extremely beautiful body was revealed in front of Lu Yu. Her skin was fair, as if made of jade. Even the face is revealed, it is unparalleled in beauty and touching. If it weren't for the fatal wound on her chest, Lu Yu would have thought she was asleep. Unsatisfied, Lu Yu rolled his Adam's apple and was about to move the person aside. The female corpse fell into Lu Yu's arms, which made Lu Yu cautious. However, Lu Yu finally noticed that something was wrong. Why are you holding your hand around my waist? Chapter 0297 I am an upright person, evil hands. Why are you holding your hand around my waist? Lu Yu was stunned. He patted the cold hand and showed a smile that was uglier than crying. Please don't hug me so tightly, okay? The moment Lu Yu finished speaking, the female corpse's eyes opened. They're digging holes to swindle corpses. Lu Yu was so frightened that he threw the body away. However, after the body rolled on the ground several times, there was still no movement. This. Lu Yu's back was soaked. Damn, this is too scary. Is it life or death? Please give me an accurate answer. System, what's going on now? The female corpse has been eroded by strangeness. It is recommended that the host transfer the divine energy and blood, otherwise the female corpse will turn into a strange existence and obliterate the host. Lu Yu. It's over, it's really over. Is this okay? If the system says it can be erased, it can definitely erase itself. System, how to transfer the energy and blood of the gods? Lu Yu was extremely anxious. There is no other way. If I don't rescue him, I'm really going to die. Lu Yu could see that the fingers of the female corpse were moving. It's time to get up soon. Host, this is very simple. Just go up and give her a 15-second kiss, and it will be fine, the system replied calmly. Lu Yu, degree. Why don't you tell me to just have sex with her? Host, congratulations on discovering a better method. The system's answer almost prevented Lu Yu from slapping him, no, slapping the system to death. Can you continue to do this kind of thing? I can't do it. Lu Yu was struggling in his heart. When he turned around, he saw that the female corpse had already gotten up. A pair of black eyes stared at Lu Yu and whispered. Just to match that pretty face. Lu Yu suddenly didn't feel so scary anymore. How about giving it a try? I really don't want to try, I really just want to survive. I had no choice but to do this kind of thing in order to survive. Yes, I, Lu Yu, am such an upright person. After struggling with his own thoughts for a few minutes, Lu Yu soon looked at the female corpse. Without any hesitation, Lu Yu pounced and directly pressed the female corpse beneath him. Even though the female corpse had been invaded by strange things, Lu Yu's operation still left her at a loss. Lu Yu sat on the female corpse, gritted his teeth, and the next moment, leaned over. Sorry. The next moment, Lu Yu kissed the female corpse's lips. Lu Yu was prepared to be stung to death. After all, someone who has been dead for so long must stink. What Lu Yu didn't expect was that it had no taste. Still soft. And the moment Lu Yu kissed her, he was also mobilizing all the energy and blood in his body. Suddenly, extremely surging energy and blood poured from Lu Yu's body into the female corpse. In the airs, there seemed to be screams, and pieces of black mist steamed out from the female body, and then disappeared. Even the eyes of the female corpse that were originally open were closed. 15 seconds later, Lu Yu stood up with a look of disdain on his face. Humph, that's all. Lu Yu wiped his mouth with a calm expression. I thought it was so cruel, but this is it? Looking at the female corpse on the ground that had returned to normal, Lu Yu asked the system. System, everything should be fine now, right? Host, the female corpse still has some vital signs. Maybe there is a chance to wake her up. Lu Yu. These damn people are all cold. Are you telling me that they are still alive? In what state can one survive for so long without dying? Host, the system did not deceive you. The vital signs are indeed still there. Lu Yu frowned when he heard this. You're teasing me. In the spirit of not believing in evil, Lu Yu put his ear against the female corpse's chest. If you are still alive, you should have a heartbeat, right? What surprised Lu Yu was that the moment he leaned down, he actually heard an extremely subtle heartbeat, almost none. But, this is a real heartbeat. Really alive? Lu Yu looked squarely at the female corpse for the first time, looking at her cheeks with thoughtful eyes. Involuntarily, this face overlapped with that of the little girl who had led him before. Is it the same person? Lu Yu thought. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 389. Host, don't you really want to have a close and obedient maid? When Lu Yu was thinking about the problem, the system's voice suddenly sounded. This made Lu Yu completely confused. System, why do you want to seduce me so much? Lu Yu questioned. System, the system just doesn't want the host to miss it in vain. That's not necessary. I already have Lan as a maid. The God-given star is all maids. Lu Yu curled his lips. That's it? Although I admit that you have a good figure and a beautiful face. But, Lu Yu, can withstand this temptation. Lu Yu dare not bring someone back from the ancient land. He will be directly dissected and studied. Ignoring the system's words, Lu Yu looked at the back of the stone tablet. There was no obstruction. This time Lu Yu finally saw it clearly. The heavenly court was defeated, the gods disappeared, and even the south heaven gate fell and was destroyed. If I find it here, will I die? The words disappeared here. This made Lu Yu frown slightly. There is no information. The heaven court was defeated, the gods disappeared, and the south gate of heaven seemed to have separated from the heaven court and collapsed. Found here. This person doesn't seem to be from the God clan. Lu Yu noticed the sentence. Not from the God clan? System, what clan is this? Host, you should have a judgment. Lu Yu. You're using this trick again, right? Lu Yu swallowed his anger and began to study the female corpse. No, she was still alive, just half dead. Lu Yu studied the woman carefully. After studying for a long time, Lu Yu still didn't notice any useful clues, not even a space wrist. If it doesn't work, you have a citizenship certificate in your mouth. Lu Yu had a headache. Just when he was about to give up, suddenly, Lu Yu saw something different. Here, there seems to be a mark. Lu Yu looked at the position on the woman's chest and fell into deep thought. This position is not easy to start to see. Forget it, she has been lying here for so many years, I'll take a look, it shouldn't be a big deal, right? I am doing this to help her go home, she will definitely not blame me. Thinking of this, Lu Yu was full of confidence again. So, Lu Yu stretched out his sinful hand. With a swish, the clothes were torn open. Chapter 0298 Such a deep wound, or the system you understand me. With a swish, the clothes were torn open. Lu Yu was shocked by the scene in front of him. So big. So scary. Such a deep scar. No wonder she has been sleeping for so long, the scar is so big. And it's deep. No, I have to save her. Lu Yu's heart, a sense of justice emerged. As a young man of the new era, Lu Yu absolutely cannot tolerate himself watching someone die without saving, this is too immoral. So, Lu Yu stretched out his sinful hand. I'm just cleaning up the blood stains, forgive me, Lu Yu said without blushing. The water and fire powers on his hands were used at the same time, warm water appeared, and Lu Yu washed the blood stains on the woman's body. While cleaning, Lu Yu found something a little strange. Why is there a tattoo here? Lu Yu looked at the tattoo and was confused. The reason was simple. He had seen this tattoo before. He had seen it on Lan. Impossible. A member of the God-given clan, or the queen. Lu Yu remembered that Lan was talking about this kind of tattoo, which only the queen and the queen's heir were qualified to have. And now, why did this woman have it? Instantly, a sentence appeared in Lu Yu's mind. Her bloodline passed the verification, and the 10th generation of God-given queen disappeared. There were new fluctuations on the other side of the Great Wall. Some ancient gods were awakening. This sentence came from the history of the God-given clan. Lu Yu looked at the woman in front of him and was a little unbelievable. She was the 10th generation God-given queen who disappeared. Impossible. Such a coincidence. However, this tattoo was indeed from the God-given clan. Lu Yu felt a little headache. Why did the 10th generation God-given queen appear here? Didn't she follow a certain existence of the God clan? Could it be that the existence of the God clan also died? Otherwise, how to explain it? Host, you see what I said is right. While Lu Yu was thinking, the voice of the system sounded again. Lu Yu. He was a little speechless. Why don't you just tell me that this is the queen of the God-given clan? The system directly tells the host, can the host see this scene? Hearing this, Lu Yu looked at the God-given queen who was naked. Ahem, you still understand me. Lu Yu's old face flushed. System, there is no problem putting people in the system space, right? No problem, host. The voice of the system made Lu Yu very satisfied. Good. Very good. Putting the 10th generation God-given queen into the system space, Lu Yu was in a very good mood. Cultivate, another Lan. Add the God-given queen. Hiss. So cool. Lu Yu was in a good mood and looked towards the stone pillar. From the previous written records, it seems that this is not the real entrance to heaven. It is just said that the south gate of heaven accidentally fell here. Lu Yu stepped forward and carefully examined the stone pillar. The stone pillar was engraved with intricate patterns and looked very ancient. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yun Zhong Mu Shui. Chapter 390. Lu Yu looked around other places and found nothing. All around, it seemed that there was only the stone pillar, emitting a faint light. Gone. Lu Yu looked confused, and at this moment, another white light suddenly appeared in front of him. Still the figure of that little girl. This made Lu Yu freeze on the spot. The little girl, wasn't she transformed from the 10th generation of God-given queen? He was really surprised. Before, I had always thought that the little girl was the 10th generation God-given queen who had incarnated herself and attracted me here. But now it seems that there is clearly another existence. Lu Yu followed the little girl again. Judging from the current judgment, the little girl should not have any malicious intentions. Otherwise, I can't have a safe journey. As for what happened to the God-given queen, ahem. No need to mention it, no need to mention it. Following the little girl all the way, Lu Yu passed through darkness and finally stopped on a bridge. Where is this? Lu Yu's eyes were confused. There are lights hanging on the bridge. These lights are all on, emitting a faint light, which actually prevents the intrusion of darkness. Under the bridge, there seemed to be a river, and there was the sound of flowing water, but Lu Yu couldn't see clearly. The most important thing is that in the middle of the bridge, there is a black coffin. This made Lu Yu hesitate. The figure of the little girl disappeared as she walked beside the coffin. After what happened before, Lu Yu already knew it very well. This probably means that he wants to open the coffin himself. System, is there no danger in it? Lu Yu asked. Host, please try boldly. If you fail, save the file and try again. Lu Yu. If I save a file of your size, it will be gone if it is gone. After just thinking about it, Lu Yu finally got close to the coffin. The coffin was black and made of some kind of metal. Lu Yu gritted his teeth, and with a cruel heart, he grabbed the coffin lid and tried to lift it off. What surprised Lu Yu was that no matter how hard he tried, the coffin lid didn't move at all. I don't believe it anymore. Lu Yu roared, mobilizing all the energy and blood in his body. The next moment, the golden energy and blood spread out like a vast ocean, and there was a light within 100 meters radius. In the darkness, there were screams, as if they were being burned. Lu Yu was bathed in golden energy and blood, roaring and exerting force, like a god. The next moment, the coffin lid was overturned and fell heavily to the ground. Boom! Lu Yu took a step back and looked into the coffin. But inside the coffin, there is still a coffin. Lu Yu. Without hesitation, Lu Yu burst out with energy and blood again and opened the coffin. Or a coffin. Lu Yu took a deep breath and lifted the coffin lid again. Still a coffin. 8 coffin lids flew off in a row, and finally, Lu Yu looked at the coffin, which was only half the size, and fell into deep thought. Now, it's impossible, right? Lu Yu opened the coffin lid again. This time, what was inside was not a coffin, but a little girl. He just lay there quietly, as if he was asleep. Still coming. Lu Yuren was dumbfounded. At this time, beside him, the figure of a little girl suddenly appeared. She pointed under the bridge and made an anxious sound. It's a pity that Lu Yu didn't hear anything. Is this your body? The little girl nodded and continued to point downward. Do you want me to throw your body down there? The little girl nodded again. Lu Yu's eyes were filled with expectation. Lu Yu started to think deeply. Good guy, you asked me to come all the way here just to move the body for you? No, I can't help you without reward, Lu Yu said. Seeing this, the little girl tilted her head and pointed at her body in the coffin. Lu Yu looked and finally discovered something this time. Under the little girl's body, there are blocks of stones emitting golden light. Ding! The host has discovered the divine source crystal and recommends collecting it. Chapter 0299 The news of Shen Yuan crystal worth 100 star cores. Ding! The host has discovered the divine source crystal and recommends collecting it. The system voice sounded quickly, and Lu Yu was stunned by these words. Shanai Yuanjing, what the hell? It seems like a good thing? System, what is this divine source crystal? Lu Yu asked. Host, the divine origin crystal is a condensation of divine matter, which is more advanced than divine matter. The system's answer surprised Lu Yu. Good guy. A condensation of divine matter? I was still having a headache before, so what should I use to increase Takumai's upper limit? Good guy, now when I feel sleepy, I just touch the pillow. I love it. Surprised in his heart, Lu Yu looked at the little girl. Are you sure you want me to throw your body down? Lu Yu asked again. The little girl nodded expectantly. Seeing this, Lu Yu no longer hesitated, hugged the body directly and stood on the bridge. The sound of running water on the bridge was still there, but Lu Yu couldn't see anything clearly. The little girl was standing next to him, and as soon as Lu Yu let go, the next moment, the body fell directly downwards. To Lu Yu's surprise, white light burst out from the little girl's falling body, dispelling the darkness. Lu Yu saw clearly what was below and was slightly startled. There is indeed a river below, but it is a river of stars. Countless stars are flowing, as if a certain galaxy has been shrunk to billions of times. Each shining star turned into tiny dots of light, flowing in it. After the little girl fell into it, she soon disappeared. Then, darkness covered everything again. Seeing this, Lu Yu looked even more puzzled. Galaxy? Is it a real galaxy? Lu Yu was shocked by his own thoughts. Turning an entire galaxy into a river, what kind of strength is needed to do this?